family healthy lifestyle and entertainment radio station 107.3 Darling FM. Hello and welcome to the World News. I am Zandas, Okeke Otiwa. Here are the headlines. Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 warns of third wave of coronavirus lockdown. Delta State Governor warns citizens to desist from dumping refuse into drainages. United Kingdom Prime Minister insists that AstraZeneca vaccine is safe. Details shortly. Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has warned Nigerians to be careful so that the country does not slide into a possible third wave of the coronavirus lockdown. The task force cited Italy, France, and Germany as part of the countries currently experiencing their third wave of the virus, with Italy scheduled for a fresh lockdown whereby people will only be allowed to leave their homes for essential errands. Secretary to the Government of the Federation and Chairman Presidential Task Force, Boss Mustafa, at the briefing in Abuja said the virus is very potent and people are still getting infected. He noted that no one can yet heave a sigh of relief despite availability of COVID-19 vaccines. Meanwhile, Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Faisal Shuaib, said that so far there has been no official report of serious adverse effects associated with the AstraZeneca vaccine among those that have received the vaccines. House of Representatives has promised to recover all dividends, assets and funds belonging to the federal government in privatized and commercialized enterprises in the country. Chairman of the House Committee on Privatization and Commercialization, Makama Misau, said the ad hoc committee set up to investigate and recover funds, assets and dividends of federal government in some privatized enterprises held its inaugural meeting. Misau sought the support of all stakeholders, especially former workers of privatized public enterprises, labor unions among others, adding that they shall x-ray the transaction process to find any missing funds, assets, dividends of federal government that are not accounted for or missing and recover all on behalf of Nigerians and the federal government. The chairman urged stakeholders on the assignment to work with the committee for the success of the task. Christian Association of Nigeria has dragged the federal government to court over the failed attempt to amend some disturbing sections in the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA. Khan said the case was mentioned at the Federal High Court Abuja between the Incorporated Trustees of Christian Association of Nigeria and Corporate Affairs Commission, as well as Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. Khan's General Secretary Bade Daramola in a statement stated that Khan has gone to court to challenge the legality or otherwise of the just gazetted controversial Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, popularly called CAMA, over some provision which Khan is not comfortable with. The association resolved to go to court after all attempts to convince the federal government why it should not intervene or interfere with the management of the church in the country through any of its agencies failed. People's Democratic Party Imo State chapter has challenged the APC-led government of Imo State to start articulating its own alternative agenda of what they will do for the people of the state. Speaking with Darling FM, State Public Secretary of the party, Ogubundu Nwadike, challenged Governor Hope Uzodinma to leave Owerri to other parts of the state to showcase his developmental projects. According to Nwadike, Governor Uzodinma should accept failure in managing the economy of Imo State.
Own way to that idea that what they may be commissioning would be what we describe as invisible projects. There's no project, there's no infrastructure. Where is the road that this regime has completed or initiated and completed in the last 14 months? Not one. They tell you the tiger of Amiibo, go there and see it for yourself. Nothing is happening, okay? And you would agree with me that all these things they are talking about is still revolving around Owerri Municipal. At every point in time, being the capital seat of Imo State government, the Owerri Municipal often have evidence of some good roads, if we call it. But I've argued that Imo State goes beyond Owerri Municipal. Go to Okeke, go to Olu. My brother, we are living in the dark ages.
He cautioned mischievous politicians, especially those in the APC, to stop deceiving Ndimo by spreading what it described as false ideas that the government is working.
Many people, even some of them who are promoting this administration, don't have the roads to get to their father's houses. Run through the roads in Omuma, then you will know that the governor that is telling you he has done roads, he has done this. I think he should be ashamed of himself, because there are no roads to Omuma in his local government. They've done very well in looting the treasury of Imo State. They've done well in propagating all sorts of lies, propaganda, and blackmail. They tell you one thing, you turn around, it doesn't work again. It's not true. You said you will be paying workers by the 25th of every month, and overnight you owe them for 6-7 months without paying. There are a lot of things. So there's no sector. Education has collapsed. They are executive dealers. They are dealing with Imo State, telling all sorts of lies, organizing all sorts of stakeholders meetings amongst themselves and their loyalists to deceive the people. But we are on ground, and we continue to provide the alternative by telling the people the truth.
According to the State Public Secretary of the party, the APC-led government has enormous responsibilities to the entire population of Imo, and all of these responsibilities are as important as paying salaries to workers, boosting the IGR of the state, investing on education and rural development. Special advisor to Abia State Governor on boundary matters, Christopher Nwanevo, is blaming the recurring boundary dispute between Akwa Ibom communities and their Arochukwu neighbors on failure to implement boundary reports by Akwa Ibom State. Nwanevo, who was reacting to the recent clash between Ubo community and Ipanja people in Ibiono Ibom local government area of Akwa Ibom State, said the letter compromised in full implementation of previous reports on the matter.
Has happened since the past 2 years is that our neighbors of Akwa Ibom has not been akin to actual meetings and the implementation of agreement, communicate, reached in such meetings towards the resolution of these boundaries. Like in the case of Arochukwu issue as this, the Akwa Ibom state government refused implementation of this agreement, which has made it difficult for these people to relocate back to their homes. The person functioning now as their state officer in charge of boundaries seem not to know what has happened in the past.
He explained that the latest dispute, which has claimed the life of one person with many still missing, stemmed from disagreement over farmland and not boundary related.
The issue in Ubo, in Arochukwu local government area, is a very highly regrettable one, in that Ubo is not one of the communities in dispute, because Ubo is entirely in Abia State, but it shares a common boundary, Akwa Ibom. So the dispute they have encountered is on land ownership. The boundary dispute has to do on farmlands.
The National Boundary Commission takes the Akwa Ibom Abia State boundary crisis as one of the volatile interstate boundaries in Nigeria because they have records of high rates of threat to peace and in some cases loss of lives. Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowo has called on citizens to stop dumping refuse into drainages to avoid blockage of the water channels. The governor said this while inspecting 28 internal roads in Okpanam, spanning over 11 kilometers and 20 kilometers of drainage. Okowa said his administration embarked on massive construction of roads and stormwater drainage projects in Okpanam to check siltation emanating from flood in the community into Asaba. He expressed confidence over tackling the annual flooding with the ongoing stormwater drainage project in state capital and its environs. Governor Okowa stated that government embarked on the project after a careful study by experts and explained that tackling erosion and flooding problems in Okpanam necessitated the constructions of the road. This is 107.3 Darling FM Owerri. If you're just joining us, you're listening to the world news. In the news, Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 warns of third wave of coronavirus lockdown. Delta State Governor wants citizens to desist from dumping refuse into drainages. Still to come, United Kingdom Prime Minister insists that AstraZeneca vaccine is safe. Still ahead is business. Stay tuned.
Missed any of the developing stories during the week? Do you want to get up to speed with the news? Tune in to the People's Radio 107.3 Darling FM at noon every Saturday for the Week in Review. The Week in Review, reminding you of the week's stories today.
You're welcome back. Now let's go to the foreign scene, where Prime Minister of Britain Boris Johnson has defended the safety of the AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine after several European countries halted its rollout over blood clot fears. Germany, Italy and France had joined others in suspending the vaccine, dealing a potential blow to the global immunization campaign against a disease that has killed more than 2.6 million people. However, the World Health Organization and the European Medicine Agency has insisted that the vaccine shot is safe and that there is no link between it and reported blood clot. The British leader echoed assurance that the jab was not harmful. He noted that the vaccine is safe and works extremely well. Fears have grown in some countries over the safety of the AstraZeneca vaccine after several cases of blood clots or brain hemorrhages in people that after receiving the inoculation, with a small number of deaths reported. The European Union has reported Nigeria to the World Trade Organization WTO. The complaint was about Nigeria's policy on dairy products. Director General of the WTO, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, made this disclosure in Abuja when she visited the Central Bank of Nigeria. Okonjo-Iweala said the WTO had received a letter from the European Union complaining about Nigeria's restriction on milk and dairy products. She said the WTO will look into the complaint but urged Nigeria to take advantage of the trade remedy initiative in place at the WTO to protect local industries. Reacting, CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele said the process to bring milk and dairy products has been on for 6 years, with the milk and dairy producers treating the matter with levity. And that's the world news as produced by Uchoma Sophia Falabi. You can reach our news desk for coverage and eyewitness report on 0818-732-5104 or send an email to dialnfmnews@gmail.com. And you can listen to Dial FM anywhere in the world. Go to www.dialnfm.ng and click to listen. Stay safe, everyone, and don't forget to wash your hands regularly. Soap is sufficient to deactivate the virus. I am Zandas, Okeke Otiwa. News update is at 5 p.m. Good afternoon.